Hey there, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield. Um, Welcome to Last Man Standing, a little bit earlier than usual. You may or may not have noticed that this is the usual time for Stupid O'Clock. But a couple of hours ago, Joe Dog messaged me and said, "I'm tapping out for the night. I can't manage doing Stupid O'Clock. Go ahead and reschedule your show earlier and reschedule Stupid O'Clock for Thursday night." So that's exactly what I did, and this is exactly where we are in this particular timeline. Don't know how long the show is going to be because, um, you know, Stupid O'Clock people that are, usual guests and whatnot, or usual viewers, are going to be trying to find a broadcast that's not there. And here I am. I mean, it's already been several hours since the show was originally scheduled, so I don't know if YouTube has caught up yet or if it hasn't. But hopefully, I did put the word out that a few folks got to see that are regulars on both shows. So hoping that they got the notice in time. And if you'll excuse me not looking at the screen for a moment, I'm trying to pull up the comments section on my iPad so that I can reply to everyone's comments. Um, what the? There we go. We got Uncle Carl in the chat. Welcome, Uncle Carl. And I'm just going to go ahead and play the intro video just because it's tradition to do so, even though I've already started the show without the intro. Um, I'll see you in about 2.5 minutes.
Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Well, that's weird. Um, the only available video on my channel is a couple of days ago, which is ordinary, but Joe Dog can't timestamp anything worth a damn. Um, he just doesn't pay attention. Let's see. Streamed a year ago, streamed a day ago, streamed 2 months ago. Yep. Well, we'll just have to make do, won't we? Since YouTube won't let me subscribe to my own channel. So let me see down here. There's a Stupid O'Clock and Hallowcon. I'm not even going to my own show. Let me see if I can add it after it's going. Uh, my own channel. Seriously, this is unacceptable. Uh, Joe Dog. He's getting so burnt out from trying to promote Hallowcon. I mean, it's not a bad thing. Hallowcon is his life. He's really doing everything he can, but he's burning himself out. He's burning the candle not only at both ends, but he seems to be lighting it in the middle in 2 or 3 places too. Wish the boy would take it easier, but don't really seem to be doing so. Um, yeah. Uh, Now, if it'll just, yeah, that's working. Finally got everything going. This, everything I've said up to about the time I just lifted my head and looked at the screen is not going to be recorded. Um, we shall go on as if everything were perfectly normal, which is kind of abnormal for me, but who cares? Uh, yeah, the referral link is there for my friends that want to join in. I'm sorry, I did not notice that Joe Dog didn't have this go into my channel, which is where people would normally look for it instead of on the Stupid O'Clock channel. But it, I bet he's suffering from migraines because of the thunderstorms that we've been having. So yeah, just slipped his mind to include me in my own broadcast. Um, Now, I could go to Stupid O'Clock and download it and then re-upload it, but that takes half a day and eats up bandwidth that interferes with my wife's um, watching stuff on Roku. So I think, well, I'll just go with the edited version, just the edited highlights sort of thing, starting from now. Hello, I'm Dan. You may have noticed Stupid O'Clock is not happening tonight, and we're at the Stupid O'Clock time for Saturday nights. There, that's the recap. Um, what we got going on? I don't know. The show that Blade's Thesis did earlier today was absolutely fascinating, and it did run a little bit over time. I do not begrudge that at all. Oh, yeah. Dawn may not be around either. Well, that's fine. She's got a puzzle in front of her, or she's feeling tired and going to bed. Nobody's obligated to show up except me. You know. And me showing up, yeah, that's kind of the point. But anybody else, hey, it's a free for all. Um, come as you are or don't. I don't care. Um, I know that my usual audience is like a day later because Last Man Standing is usually late nights. And Daniel Berry is here. Good to see you. Um, so, I can freeform for a little while. Hell, I've already gone 11 minutes since I went live, and about 6 of those have been recorded so far. So if you want the full thing, you probably have to go to Stupid O'Clock and watch it on the replay. Uh, my channel, I had to catch up and fix a few things. So, yeah, internet problems. Um, I don't have a Joe Bachman working for me, so everything just has to come as it is. Oh, don't get too attached to this. It's got to be shaved off um, later tonight after the show because tomorrow is Mother's Day, and my mother does not like my beard at all. Lindsay does, my wife. So mom gets overruled, but I do like to clean up a bit, and I've been letting it go for a little while. It's kind of shaggy and going in all different directions. So I'll trim it up and look like Machiavelli here in a little while. I'm not going to do it on camera and bore the hell out of you. I mean, who wants to see me shave my beard or trim my beard? Since I'm not going to shave it entirely off, I should do that one day. But if I did, Mom would probably keel over dead right there. She's in her 80s. Um, don't want that on my conscience. You shaved, thump. Uh, no. Oh dear. Uh, let's see. What's been going on? Um, some of you may or may not know. I've been collecting accoutrements to go with a kilt that certain ladies have demanded that I buy and wear in public. And I'm going, cargo shorts aren't enough? I mean, seriously. But no, but now I have bracers, belt pouches, sporin, the kilt, a cloak, a nice shirt that I have to pull the laces out of every time it gets thrown in the wash because I don't want those torn to shreds or sucked into the innards of the washing machine. Um, and it can be machine washed, but it has to be hung to dry. It's not dryable in a dryer. That will damage it. So, looking forward to putting that ensemble together. I've got a nice hat on order. Um, I have the obligatory sock skein do. Um, I've actually got two of them. This one's going on the baldric that I'm going to have to make. Might show up on uh, creators or crafters at play or whatever the name of the story is. Ah, the channel on Indie CD, creatives at play. Yes, I might have the camera pointed down in a workbench in my lap and be cutting leather and hammering rivets and snaps and things like that. Um, the the other knife that is going to go in my sock, um, the clip on that has got a really, really jagged edge, and it would cut my leg to no end. So I've ordered some stuff from Tandy Leather, and I'm going to make another knife sheath for it, and a couple of shin and ankle straps to keep it in place rather than have it tucked down inside the sock. All's well and good. Indie creatives at play. That's exactly right, Carl. Thank you. Um, Under pressure, I forget a lot of stuff. But yeah, and I've got to make a horizontal connector for the belt that I got with the kilt to be used as a baldric. Yeah, Carl, I thought about it a lot too before I decided I'd really rather to just make my own sheath because the sheaths for these are nylon and they don't look right against a leather belt or anything. It's like, oh, you went to Walmart and bought a knife? No, but there's no accounting for what you get on a mail order. So if they're not in the mood to do craftsmanship, you don't get craftsmanship. The knives, there's nothing wrong with the knives. They're nice. Um, but now I'm going to go back to Grimfrost is the name of the company. They're over in Sweden. Um, I ordered something. It took them 4 days to get it at my door. Had to come from Sweden, and it took it 4 days to cross the ocean and be delivered in Northeast Georgia. That's rapidly fast. And the quality of their stuff, they're the ones I got the cloak and the sporehand from. This is, it was absolutely amazing. The cloak is gray wool and it is heavy and will be very warm. And the sporehand, once I saw the stitching on it, I knew these folks are craftsmen. Whoever makes their stuff deserves all the praise. This I know quality when I see it. I mean, I've been making my own leather goods for a while, and I know good stitching when I see it. Um, no, and then I saw it. Um, already got the damn thing hanging on the belt that I got to go with the kilt. Now, I thought about dyeing the kilt a darker brown, not the kilt, the belt a darker brown because it's really light colored leather, and the belt and the sporan are a darker colored leather, dark brown, and the the possibles bag is black, but I can order brown ones. But then again, it came with um greaves for your arms to go on the shirt. They're I got those from a different company, not Grimfrost. They're well made, but when they arrived, I thought, oh, why didn't you get the brown so everything matches? Because the kilt is a utility kilt in gray and black, and I wanted more than just brown, gray, and black. So there are going to be some bits and pieces that match the black, and there's going to be some bits and pieces that match the brown. Um, we shall see. Oh, the new hat is herringbone tweed, and it has a bill on it that's a little bit longer than my Greek sailor's cap. Uh, People are going to go, wait a minute, last year that thing was blue, and I go, last year that was a different hat. I'm not going to wear it all the time. This is for the kilt and cloak and whatnot. So when Hallowcon has a cold day, I'll be ready whether I got a skirt on or not. Oh, we shall see. She's trying to talk me into to taking it to LibertyCon in Chattanooga, and I'm going 90 degrees every day and 100% humidity. Sounds like a case for no pants to me. And as long as there's not a steady breeze, I wouldn't want anybody to get an eyeful unexpectedly. And most urgently, I wouldn't want to reveal my shortcomings to the world, as a pun once said. Ah, it is what it is. Um, People that know me very, very well know that I can be extraordinarily comfortable in anything from a loincloth to a full on tux with a starch bib collar and bow tie and top hat and a fancy cane. And it's just my fancy dress street clothes, basically. Granny used to call it Sunday go to meeting, but don't know that I would wear that at church. Um, Definitely not the top hat because somebody'd sit on it while I was trying to keep it from getting crushed. And it's not one of those popper toppers. Of course, I could get one of those, but I'm not interested in it. Mm, Pardon me, a little bit of grandma's rheumatism medicine, the ibuprofen and the Tylenol are not getting anything done today. We got rain, rain, and more rain. I had to drive in the rain today. Had to help Lindsay feed the cats in the rain today. I've got stuff I need to do outside. It's going to be probably Wednesday or Thursday before I've got good enough weather to get out there and do things. Um, I have carpentry to commit. Um, and that's about as serious as I made it sound. When I start doing carpentry, I mean you talking about if it ain't right, it ain't passing my inspection. So yeah, it's got to be good, or it's got to be hired, because it's beyond my ability. And for those of you who know me, you have trouble visualizing what would be beyond my ability to saw a board and nail it to some other board to make me hire somebody to do it. Well, doing contracting work, yes, that's beyond my ability because I don't know building codes, and the contractors do. And they will make sure, and I've already made sure that the one we are attempting to hire is just as driven to do the right thing the first time rather than cut corners as I am. And that, thank you, Dad, and thank you, Mom, for teaching me that uh, shortcuts don't cut it. You either do the job the hard way, or you hire somebody else to do it the hard way because you don't have time. Now I'm an old farm boy, and the idea of paying somebody else to do something I can do is quite anathema to the way I was raised. It's borders on being sinful. Borders on. Mom and Daddy always taught me, don't be ashamed to ask for help when you need it, but don't ask for help when you don't need it. You're supposed to go to the limits of your ability, push beyond them as far as you can, and when you reach that, you go, I'm going to have to hire somebody, which is what I've done. So we're hoping living room and kitchen and hallway floors are going to get redone. Going to have to look into getting either a storage container or another pre-made barn to set up back in the woods to store living room and dining room furniture in while the floors get ripped to pieces and then um, put back together like one of Dawn's jigsaw puzzles. Taking it apart like one of Dawn's jigsaw puzzles is no problem because this is a housing and urban development built house from late 50s, early 60s. And it's made out of leftovers from other building projects. I've seen the craftsmanship or lack of same in this particular dwelling. Um, Daddy would have been ashamed. He wouldn't have claimed none of the work. And he taught me to be ashamed of less than stellar quality work. So, yeah, there you go. These are the standards I aspire to. Dad didn't know he was a master cabinet maker until he tried his hand at cabinet making. But he was a master machinist and made stuff for physicists and rocket scientists to play with over the years. And I've met people that worked with him at the machine shops he worked at, and they had nothing but respect for him. I'm going, yeah, that's Dad. That's Dad. He could do the impossible and make it look easy. And then you try and do it and you go, whoa, this is harder than I thought. Yeah, but then he had a lot of time to master his craft. You could hand him a blueprint of a piece of machinery and a pile of metal or a pile of wood and a machine shop to play with. He make anything you want. Absolutely anything you want. But yeah, still miss him. Gone too early, but then Alzheimer's is a terrible thing. Um, wasn't that old either. Uh, I know Alzheimer's has a genetic link time to time, but usually it skips a generation, which would put me in the clear. It's a good thing I don't have any children by blood. All of my children are from uh, marrying ladies who already had children by other fathers, and I've raised quite a few of those, and I babysat quite a few more. Um, People kind of seem astonished when just in casual conversation I would say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I've helped raised about 200, 300 kids. Tried to teach them right from wrong, or at least teach them to consider when it's a good time to do something socially frowned upon rather than the social norm. Um, Question authority, think for yourself, do what is right rather than what is accepted. These are not really well accepted principles in 2025 society. It's more like conform, consume, die on schedule. And I'm going, hey, pursue your interests, read everything you can get your hands on, even if it's not your personal cup of tea. There's still things that you can learn from classic literature or the sort of books that get written by people that have been in one industry or another, comic books, writing, publishing, whatever, and they put in generations of turning out really good work, whether they've been given any prominent awards or just public recognition. I see Rich has just popped in, but his camera's not on yet. There he is. Just give me a nod when you are ready to be on screen, Rich. All right, there we go. Welcome
Oh
to
yeah.
the welcome to the disorganized madness tonight. I've just been vamping for the last 35 minutes. That's all right. Carl's been here to help me through the chat. So yeah, um, been relating what's going on, and the weather sucks, and uh, Joe Dog's not feeling up to doing the show tonight after he scheduled it, and me having to reschedule everything and getting people caught up because YouTube doesn't update when a 11:30 show suddenly starts at 10 o'clock. So,
Yeah, they're a little bit slow on that bit.
yeah, well, it'll be all right. As soon as the show's over tonight, I'll drop it on the playlist. It'll be on. Well, everything except the first 6 minutes where I didn't realize that Joe Dog didn't have it recorded to my YouTube channel, but had it being recorded to two Hallowcon channels. Then all he does is delete them after I'm done. I mean, seriously. If it ain't on my channel, my fans, if they are different from Hallowcon fans, and yes, there is a wide crossover between the two, but then there is a certain specific group that only shows up for me. How deluded will those people be judged to be? Ah, oh, it's good to see you on Thesis's show in the chat. Uh, Stealthing your way in. Oh, there's Thesis in the chat. Hey,
Hey, brother.
good to see you. Good to see you. Um, yeah, but yeah, I am. I'm kind of worried about this sword. Um, I can't keep an edge on the damn thing. I had it sharp enough to cut paper 2 days ago, put it back in the sheath, and today I get it out and it's dull again.
Where'd you acquire it from?
Um, Good question. Hell, it wasn't the company that Thesis hates. It's very good craftsmanship as far as the pommel and um, the faults. Uh, oh Lord, what is the term for it? Um, the steel's got acid etched ripples in it, like it a real Damascus. Yeah.
Okay.
If it was Damascus, I could have sharpened it once, and the rest of my life just ignored having to sharpen it again.
Oh, just because it's Damascus doesn't mean it's a quality Damascus too. Because all a Damascus is a bunch of different types of steel that are put together. If the welds aren't done right, and if it's still not heat treated correctly, it's still going to be a crap blade because it's still going to be crap steel.
Well,
It's just going to look pretty.
it's not even real Damascus. It's the
Yeah.
acid etched stuff. It's just soft steel. Now
Yeah. It's probably what, like almost like a Bud K special.
no, it's better than that, but not much. If I
Okay.
could remember, where I got it from, I'd tell you, but I don't remember. Um, and I have to go through receipts like from I don't know how long ago till when it arrived. It's not like the Grimfrost, the people that do the Good Viking stuff. That shit. They're in Sweden. I ordered something. 4 days later, it's in my driveway. Um, and like I said, when I was watching the shipping and going, wow, they're going fast. It's like I can picture a long ship being rowed by about 20 really big dudes, and the cadence drummer is playing the drum solo from Inagata-Davida, so they're really putting that boat out there fast. Thesis. I don't think it was that Cult of Athena does not ring a bell with me. I mean, it's pretty. I'm not ever going to have to chop wood with it. I'm not ever going to run into any zombies. So if I did, I'd be getting the Toledo steel. I sharpened that 15 years ago, and it's still sharp.
Yeah, Cult of Athena is like museum replicas quality.
Oh, Atlanta Cutlery is where I bought it from. Atlanta Cutlery, museum replicas. Um, Hank Reinhardt, you are missed. Believe me. Um, I knew him from LibertyCon. Uh, Mad Mike is still running around with some of the stuff he bought after Hank's um, passing from his personal collection. And I'm going, that stuff is quality. You put an edge on that, and 200 years from now, it'll still have an edge. Um, if it was something from Hank's collection, it's good. Um, but yeah, Atlanta Cutlery and museum replicas, they're better than Bud K, but they're still in the same ballpark.
Yeah, they're more
It's
display
reenactor
pieces.
stuff.
Yeah.
They're the high end
They're
Ren Fair gear.
they're more worried about the rivet count than you know
Mm.
it actually doing what it's supposed to do. But we can't put the rivet there. You know, we've got to put it here, and it has to ping just right. And
It has to look
now,
like what we're trying to do.
now I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that kind of stuff because
Oh
again,
no, no.
it is really pretty stuff.
Yes, it is.
And and
And
and I would love to own some of that. But I've got my two hander I have that's over in the closet. $35 consort. Never put an edge on it.
well,
Don't ever plan to put an edge on it. But you know, it's more meant as something to have to have the weight so
mm-hmm.
that I can have the you know what I need for using that kind of weapon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only
Now,
purpose of
my
this is
Starfire.
to go with the costume. So, and it's not really a costume because I don't do costumes. I just do clothes. They may be clothes from here, there, and other realms, but they're still just clothes to me. Um, Never try and walk down stairs wearing a long cloak and cowboy boots with spurs. That's a free hint from an old man. Take it for what it's worth. You're going to wind up either tumbling down those stairs or repairing the straps on your spurs.
Don't follow someone down the steps if they're wearing a long duster and they are about 6 inches taller than you, about 3 inches wider than you on either side, and outweigh you by about 3 times your body weight. You will end up on your ass. And I'll be like, did I catch my coat on something? What the hell's going on? Someone found that out the hard way coming down the steps of the bus.
Oh my God. They were standing on your coat.
They ended up stepping on the very tail end of my duster, and then I'm just walking out and I'm not paying attention, and apparently I took their feet out from under them.
Well, you wouldn't notice it. I mean, seriously, um, with your height and your mass, somebody standing on your coattails is they could just hang on and ride for a little while and you wouldn't even know they were there. Um,
I'm happy it was a dude in their prime and not someone that was more frail.
yeah.
Because then I would have felt that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have learned. Whew, I think the Jedi robe taught me a lot about. You know, I know this thing's supposed to drag the floor for dramatic impact, but how about if I get a belt and cinch it up where it don't drag the floor? It'll it'll have the same impact anyway, but it won't be me impacting the floor because I tripped over something.
I learned the hard way also that make sure that the cloak is behind you when walking up steps.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I also learned the hard way, make sure that the robe is pulled up so that you've got a couple inches of clearance um, over the front of your feet. Um, again, going up steps, otherwise,
Mm-hmm. I
um,
also I also learned the hard way that when I was doing something Civil War era and I was wearing a saber, there's a reason why there's a third strap that hooks into the back ring on the sheath of the sword so that you can sit down without having the damn thing poking up like a unwelcome erection or dragging the ground while you're sitting down. Um, and I figured out how to do that just from looking at period photographs and go, can't do exactly that. Let me see what I can do. And between um, the different leather straps and some hardware store hardware, I managed to figure it out. So, yeah, when I'm about to sit at the table, tail end of that sword gets hooked up a whole lot higher than what it was when I was standing up. Ah, these things you just learn by accident. Life is full of, well, I don't want to say
well,
happy accidents, but they are learning experiences that you can use to make things easier later on.
I mean, that's how all that stuff came to be in the first place. Is hey, we need to do X, Y, Z. Yeah,
Hmm. Now, I've thought seriously, I've got some stuff coming from Tandy Leather. I'm going to have to um, put some snap uh, rivets in on the end of a belt with a brass ring on it and join. Well, I may just use regular rivets on that and put snaps on one end of. There's a connector that goes between them that is vertical, about belt height, and that's where the sword is going to be hanging from a hip, and I thought about making a variation of a John Brown belt, but oops, lost Richie. We'll see. He may come back soon, or the weather may have killed. There it goes. There it goes. Here he is. Wrong button or bad weather?
My browser didn't like something.
Oh, probably us talking about sharp, pointy things. Um, no,
On the computer, pay attention to me. You're an IT guy.
yeah, I may join a indie creators at play session when I get the leather in, and I'm ready to put the rivets in and shape this sword hanger. I thought about doing a John Brown belt where it was actually a shoulder strap that was connected at the back and in the front to keep that side from sagging. But then I thought, well, what if I take the weight off the kilt entirely? Wouldn't that be more period and more comfortable? I can even put padding in for my shoulder if I want to. It'd have to be subtle, not like one of those big old rifle strap pads that uh, looks like something a NFL football player would be comfortable with, but it would distribute the weight much better. But you know, um, for for garb, the look is all. That's the goal. So yeah. Anyway, I thought I'm only gonna have to cut a couple of pieces of leather. I'm gonna have to put some rivets in. I'm gonna have to put some snaps in so that it can be easily undone, but not so easily that it accidentally comes undone. And yeah, that's where the possibles bag, which I'm thinking about getting the Viking feast knife, two-pronged fork, and spoon set from Grimfrost. Uh, it's not cheap, but it's
They got a
well
lot of
made.
pretty stuff.
They
Yeah.
got a lot of pretty stuff. I might even actually get some trues from them for the really cold nights at Hallowcon. As let's face it, my usual attire of either Levi's or what's the work brand? I'm wearing some now, but I'm not undoing my pants so I can read the tag. Uh, anyway, that stuff's a little thin for wearing in a cold night. And even if I got a cloak,
I know. I found it kind of comfy down there.
hmm, mm,
But then again, I've got extra padding and, the blood.
mm, uh, and because I'm acclimated to heat more than cold, anytime it gets under 78 degrees, I start shivering. I mean, I, I actually turned the heater on today. The temperature in my office was 72, and I was shivering. Oh, God. I'm so ashamed. I'm such a weakling. I can survive extraordinary amounts of heat, but when it gets the least bit cold, I'm miserable. Uh, I don't know. It's partly driving a tractor around on the farm in the summertime, working in the factory, um, spring, summer, and early fall when it's just amazingly hot in there. And wintertime, I got insulated coveralls I can put on. They may not be pretty, but they're warm. They're really warm. Those things saved my life for years and years and years at the factory.
I can't believe how much I cannot take the heat anymore.
Mm.
I mean, I used to run around all the time as a kid, just
Well, I
you
mean,
know, 90-degree weather, and it didn't affect me. Uh, late teens and early 20s, I 70, 80 degrees out, I'm still wearing a jean jacket.
now,
And
boy,
now, 40 degrees, and I'm wearing this and a pair of sweatpants shorts that go just barely below my knees, and I'm sweating my chubby posterior off.
yes, but how high is the heat set in the house? I mean, you are,
No, I'm talking 40 degrees outside, just sitting outside.
oh, sitting outside, yeah. Um, let's see, how far north of me do you live? It's about 1,500 miles or so.
Um, Figure about what, 50 or so miles shy of Chicago. Whatever
Yeah,
that distance would be from you.
yeah. I mean, it's a 4 to 5 hour drive between here and Knoxville, Tennessee. And that's only one state north. I'm going through both Carolinas and having to traverse a third of Tennessee to get to a place that goes a little bit further north for family reunions, which I can't drive to anymore because I'm in too much pain from the arthritis. Um, my my family has gotten used to, but does not exactly like the fact that I can't attend family reunions anymore because it hurts me too much to drive. Now, thankfully, Hallowcon and LibertyCon are within 3 hours, which still hurts, but it's a bearable pain. Even though when we get there and get the van unpacked, um, I'm going to crash hard for that particular first night. And that's why we show up on Thursday. Get everything unpacked, get as much set up as possible, help as many people unpack stuff and get set up in the vendor suite as possible. Help Chris with everything in the con suite. Um, and LibertyCon is just pretty much the same thing. I'll be there. I will walk around the hotel, find out where all the panels that I'm supposed to be on are on, set alarms on my phone to make sure I'm not late. And then if I'm out and about, when somebody pulls up and they go, "Hey, can anybody help me take these crates of books to the vendor suite?" And I go, "Well, I ain't busy doing anything but sitting here, so yeah, I can tote a couple of boxes. May not be fast, but just show me where to put them."
Yeah, this year, we bought a little collapsible wagon thing.
Yeah,
And we, use it to take the trash down sometimes and stuff like that. But I'm like, that's a perfect thing to, put in, just, you know, pop it out, behind the uh, the traverse, and unpack stuff, roll it into the room, put stuff on the bed, roll it out for the next. I'm like, that's what we're going to do next year. It's I used it to haul my chainmail stuff around when I went down to uh, Indie CD con earlier this year. So I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, that's a good preview of what we're going to be using it for. When we go down to Hallowcon. So
Yep, I've got one that we got just it, and because it folds up completely flat, we got one to put big stuff in, and then I've got another one that is like, well, it don't have very big wheels on it, but it unfolds where you can put an ice chest and maybe a couple of other things, and fastened it on with bungee cords so it doesn't flop over as you're turning corners. And it's not quite a roller table. It's more of a little tool cart or something, but it's all just, there's no sides to it. You just extend the wheelbase and strap stuff to it, and there you go. Find the weight limit it is comfortable with, and go from there. And then the little cart, that thing is, uh, it's basically um, a mesh sided radio flyer of the large variety. So yeah, you can put suitcases in there.
yeah,
And
mine's canvas, but yes, yeah, it's very radio flyer with bigger wheels.
mm-hmm. We got it to LibertyCon one year. I had just put it together, and unfortunately, I hadn't figured out how to expand it and lock everything in place. So it kept trying to close back up to its compact size while we were towing it around. And I went, hey, I'm going to have to kick this. Um, I did gently, and then it behaved because I finally found where it locked. It's amazing the technology you can repair with a hammer.
Percussive maintenance is a thing, and it does work.
It does indeed. I've used it a lot. Had one tractor where the voltage regulator was just behind the instrument panel. I mean, instrument panel showed hours the tractor had been running, RPMs the tractor's been running, temperature of the engine. That's the only gauges that were on it. Voltage regulator was right in there behind that. And I'd be driving back from some job that I was doing for me and Dad, or where Dad had hired me out to do something for somebody else. All of a sudden, no headlights, no safety flashers. I'm on a 15-ton tractor going at 20 miles an hour, and this is going to be a safety hazard if nobody knows I'm on the road. And I stand up, and I bump the top of the tractor, the engine casing, and the voltage regulator go, whoa, okay, I'm awake, don't hit me again. It kept working for about 20 minutes, and then it go, I'm getting sleepy, and go off, and I just dump it again. I mean, American engineering. If it don't work, hit it with a hammer. If it still don't work, hit it with a bigger hammer. Yeah, technology that took us to the moon. Yeah, they couldn't get the color TV camera to work, so they smacked it with a hammer and it fell apart. And they go, I guess the rest of it's in black and white. And the black and white camera did not dare break down because it didn't want to get hit with a hammer. Um, I think they
Does
sent
it
them with
move?
better.
Is it supposed to? WD-40? Duct tape.
Yeah, that's a Venn diagram right there. Um,
Is it mechanical? Is it stuck? Hit it with a hammer.
you'd be surprised at how many starters going bad respond to a light tap with a hammer in exactly the right spot.
No. I've had vehicles that were actually high enough for me to crawl under without having to put it up on a jack, and occasionally I'd have to go down there. Um, we had, because we're a redneck family. We had a couple of little sheet metal straps that strapped a large screwdriver on the underside of the frame. Pull it out, smack the starter, put it back in,
Mm.
do what we need to do.
Yeah, you can get by with percussive maintenance for an impressively long time when you can't afford to replace the faulty piece of equipment. And usually it's just, this is annoying. You've got to take the starter motor off. You've got to open one end of it. You've got to go in there. And before cell phone cameras were a thing, you had to remember how everything got put back together when you pulled the innards out. And all you have to do is replace the Bendix, because one electromagnetic part was either mechanically wearing or electronically dying, and it's easier to just get the whole part and slap that in there and then put the whole thing back together. Takes
We
about
had we had
it.
egg cartons with numbers for bolts and screws. This is the order. You take it off, Richie. I see you doing it in any other way. I'm going to hit you with the torque wrench. Dad, you still haven't told me what the hell a torque wrench is.
It's the thing I'm going to hit you with. It's the heaviest tool I've got. You thick-headed little bozo. Uh,
No, at
yeah.
that point in time, Dad was still taller than me.
Oh wow. Yeah. Um,
I was
Dad
only like
was
8 at that point in time.
Dad was always taller than me, even when I was taller than him. Um, don't ask me how those physics work. I don't know. It's got to do with time dilation or something. Um, I'm serious. Even when Dad was in his 80s, And he was no longer 6 feet tall because he was slumped over. And I'm 5'11", and I was not slumped over like I do a lot now because it hurts to stand up straight. Um, Dad was always like 8 feet tall and 7 feet wide, and walked into a room like George Patton or Alice Cooper or somebody with a commanding presence. And I'm just humbled. And yeah, that was Dad. Um, oh, he's the reason my brother was able to cut such a wide swath through the young ladies when he was a teenager. He got Dad's good looks. I got Mom's, except for the beard.
Um, at Mom's funeral, there are a lot of pictures of Mom and Dad when they were younger and stuff like that on boards and stuff like that. I mean, there's pictures of all the family with Mom and stuff like that, but um, Misty realized how much of my facial structure um, matched my dad's.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sister saw it and they're like, holy shit, you are Dad.
Keep that in mind when you piss me off. Wait till your mother gets home. Uh,
We were, we were generally more afraid of Mom than Dad.
oh, Dad hated to discipline us. All three of us. Well, Mom hated it too, but she realized, you know, everyday small things that we needed a punishment for, that was her job. Big stuff got turned over to Dad, and he was really annoyed at having to punish his children. And the last thing you want to see is George Patton / Alice Cooper really annoyed
Yeah,
when you feel like a microbe under a microscope.
Dad was interesting. Um, I was like 10 when he stopped using like a belt and decided to discipline me man to man.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, that's worse.
I I was not ready for him to do that. I screwed up. I knew I'd screwed up. So what I did is I admitted what I did. Walked up. Turned around. Started to assume the position, and I got punched in the back of the head. I'm like, what the hell? Um, yeah. Um, that uh, what? Yeah, it was 10 when that happened. Um, he didn't strike me often, but from that point in time, it's instead of a belt, that's what he did. Use the hand. He didn't beat me. I it wasn't even once a year that I got struck by him. But yeah, it's just no. I was 18 and um, I was yelling at my niece to try to get them to come up out of the lake to come to dinner because my mom was telling her to do so. And my dad got mad at the way I was doing it and, hit me upside the back of the head with a possum bat. And so last time he actually struck me in any way, shape, and or form because when he hit me, apparently it broke his bat.
Why am I not surprised?
He went to do it one other time. He was at the bottom of the stairs. I was at the top of the stairs. He started to come at me. And then at that point in time, I was done. It's everything that was going on in my life right then. I was done. So I just basically, and dad suddenly stopped, turned around, walked away, didn't talk to me for a week. Never struck me again.
In my family, the official notice that you were an adult is when you'd done something you knew you needed to be punished for, and both your parents, instead of getting a belt out and striping your rear end like they'd done for most of your young life, which, quickest way to your brain is smacking your butt.
Negative reinforcement through pain is the fastest way that the human mind learns.
Well, they would switch to psychology and go, I am very disappointed. And then continue on in the same vein for a little while. That's worse than getting beaten.
Dad did do psychology.
Well,
mom would use psychology, but mom, whatever was at hand, just you do something stupid, whap. It's she was grilling. I was doing my homework outside. Late summer, school was just beginning. It was around dinner time. Shirt was off. She's grilling hamburgers. I'm sitting next to her while she's grilling and stuff. And my middle sister comes up, does something. I do something purposely to piss her off. And mom just, without thinking, backhands with a spatula, hits me right here. And of course, I'm morbidly obese at that point in time. I'm still morbidly obese, but so you've got the wave of fat rolling from the impact, and then the greasy spatula mark right there on my right
one that just came off the grill,
and
you got branded.
Brenda lost it laughing, and then mom just what the hell did she throw at her? I think she threw the grill lighter at her. But it's mom just let it go with small stuff like that. It's other people would be like, "Oh, it's abusive." Well, one, it doesn't happen all the time. Two,
I earned it.
I screwed up. They're not just wailing on me or whatever. it's a quick corrective strike. Corporal punishment sucks.
Yeah.
We
it teaches you
did
needed lessons.
we did our best to avoid it when at all possible as parents, me and Misty, but sometimes you got to put a foot in the ass.
Yeah. I didn't get to see one of my grandsons for many years because uh, he was in diapers, running around the living room, pulling stuff off the coffee table. Lindsay was getting annoyed. Uh, my stepson and his wife at the time, were sitting there just watching the kid and giggling at his antics. And I swatted his diaper lightly, just enough for him to feel it, but not enough to cause any pain. And my stepson's wife at the time went absolutely apeshit because someone had dared to discipline her son. So I didn't get to see him till he was about 15 years older.
It's individuals weren't overly pleased with some of the rules in my house. Um, when it comes to kids, you're free to, do what needs to be done with your kids. They're your kids, whatever. But if they're disrespecting you in my house and you are not stopping them from disrespecting you, I will.
Sometimes your inner granddad has to step up and go, enough is enough, kid. Now, that happens to different people
Oh,
at
this
different
has gone for
stages.
my nieces and nephews and all
Yeah,
sorts of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. But it's still inner granddad. That's the figure that pops in if you had a close knit family through multiple generations like I have had. Um, with me, it would be granddad, great uncle, great grandmothers, aunts, and uncles. And I'm going, I got a lot of parents here. I mean, they're not strictly speaking my parents, but this is a big family, and it takes um, basically a very large village to raise a redneck child. Uh,
Yeah, with my sisters, it was basically, it doesn't matter. It's uncle, aunt, grandma, grandpa.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah, and any of us
Oh,
can be
and
whooping your ass, and if one of the other ones has to whoop your ass, mom or dad's going to whoop your ass too. You
uh,
catch it twice.
basically with my aunts and uncles, if they chose to whoop my ass, mom and daddy would sit back and go, "Good, I ain't got to get up." Hello,
Gentlemen.
Joe. You're on the job site, I can tell. You got the uncomfortable hat on,
Yep.
and good God, you're playing Frogger again.
I got a couple walls. I got the center median wall right behind me here. You can kind
Yeah,
of see
like
over
that's
my
going to do
shoulder.
any good. I've
Well,
driven
that
on
one,
Highway 40. I've seen all the holes they had to patch up in those.
that one's at least concrete. You know, the one over
Yeah,
here
it'll
that's
slow
metal.
them down after you turn it into spaghetti sauce. Uh,
No, they got the new sign and to take the old one down, and only
so
took them
you're
15
do,
minutes to get the new one up.
You're doing the rolling roadblock, aren't you? You froze up there. I don't know if you heard me. I said you're doing the rolling roadblock tonight, aren't you? They're moving from sign to sign, replacing the old signs with the new signs.
Yep. Yeah, it's let me see if I can switch cameras here real quick. Let's go with that one. No, let's not go with that one. We'll have to get patient here. So the sign structure that's closest to me, that's the old one. And I froze up again. I can
Yeah,
tell.
well. Now I forget. Are they taking the? Oh, you're froze again.
There you are.
Are they taking the framework down as well as the signs and putting up new framework? My question is too long. He's not going to hear it.
I'm going to disable my camera in hopes that my connection steadies out a little bit.
Okay. I said, are they taking the framework for the signs down and replacing it with new framework as well as new signs?
Yeah, they're taking the old down and putting new up.
Okay. I thought you said that Wednesday night when you were talking about having to undergo this ordeal. Or was it Friday night in the green room? I forget.
I think it was both.
I think so, yeah.
That's ballsy.
What did they do?
A couple of crotch rockets flying down the interstate.
We have a couple of those every day. Sometimes during morning rush hour to work, sometimes during morning rush hour from work, and sometimes at random times when they are just out goofing off. But they take a 45-mile-an-hour curve. Well, actually, it should be a 35-mile-an-hour curve at about 90 plus. I'm going, go for it, guys. I've got my cell phone here. I can dial 911 in a hurry. You're going to wind up in the neighbor's yard. Hopefully, you'll miss the rocks. If you don't, 911 is not going to do you any good, except that they have a supply of body bags.
Well, guys, I'm going to back out of here and go warm up in the truck for a few minutes because the temperature dropped out here like it saw a state trooper. So,
Hey, Dan, if you want to bring up that...
I will indeed.
I'll see you guys later.
That is what I plan on making. I was talking about 23,000 rings.
Holy shit, I'm glad I stayed for this.
Yeah, it's a good thing that's not Tom Baker's scarf. He would have been crawling on the ground wearing it.
That is 12 feet long and roughly a foot wide.
Yeah.
Although I could buy it from them for cheaper than I can make it.
Of course, but they won't make it as well as you can.
But yeah, so that's the project. I saw that and I'm like, crap, that's right. I could make one of those, couldn't I? And if it's out of the aluminum, it's going to be light as hell. It'll be about 8 pounds.
That's still considerable weight. Now, it is not Doctor Who's scarf, is it?
It is the coloration.
Oh,
I take it back. It is almost the coloration. Instead of the gray, they've got teal, and instead of the tan, they have it looks like bright aluminum. I might be able to find a tan, but I could definitely find a gray, a gold, a red, a purple, a green, a brown, and then right over here, somewhere. Here it is. The day that I saw that, did a little bit of searching. There is a website called DoctorWhoScarf.com.
yes, and I think it's 5 different patterns that were used.
Dedicated to all the versions of Tom Baker's scarf.
And do you know why it was 12 and sometimes 18 feet long?
It started out as long as it was because the person thought they were supposed to make it with all of the yarn.
Exactly.
Not just, here's a bunch of yarn, make something.
It was a little old lady, and she goes, well, I need to use all this up. And she just kept going and going and going. And it was probably John Nathan Turner was the producer at the time. He just goes, all right, I love it. Let's go for it. And
because of washings and stuff like that, it ended up stretching.
In one episode,
and
Tom Baker,
part of it got destroyed.
Well, no. In one episode, Tom Baker actually got injured and either broke his arm or his collarbone and had to use the scarf as a sling during shooting. And people did not notice for years that it was not Sontaran invasion, but it had Sontarans in it. He was wrestling a Sontaran when he got hurt.
One of the
it was a 2-episode story, and it was Baker era, fairly middle of Baker era, not early on. Well, it might have been, but I don't know what people consider early. But it was basically him by himself against some Sontarans, and someone did not do the stunt correctly, and he got a broken bone out of it.
I want to say it's the season 18 scarf is what was left of the original scarf sewn onto a stunt scarf.
Could have been. And when Peter Davison took over from Tom Baker, in the regeneration confusion, he was using the scarf as a thread, like in the the maze of the Minotaur, but there was no. It was inside the TARDIS. There was no Minotaur, but he was trying to be able to retrace his steps to the control room. He just confusedly unraveling one of the stunt scars. I hope, and not one of the hero scars, but it's a BBC. They didn't have a
Could
big budget at the time.
could be either.
Yeah, could be either. And all he was trying to do was get to a specific part of the TARDIS where there was what they called a zero room. I would call a still point. It was a place where nothing could get in, nothing could get out, and it was at rest with the motion of the TARDIS. So it was basically damn near zero G. No external radiation coming in, and like I said, nothing going out. It's like one of those very well sonically insulated chambers where if you go in and you've got the least tendency towards tinnitus, the noise your inner ear makes is going to be all you can hear for days until you come out. There are old constructions that are built like that. They're for some reason they're sonically null inside. It's not like a recording studio where echoes are dampened. It's the shape of the room, the size of the room, and how many corners you turn, because there weren't any doors, to block yourself out from the outside. And it's as close as the perfect place to meditate as you can get in this universe. But it's like absolute still point. And this was designed by people who were still chipping rocks for tools. Didn't even have iron, barely had wood. And you wonder how they designed this stuff and built it, and they go, well, because people have always been brilliant. Just because somebody lived before iron was invented doesn't mean they were stupid. A lot of people who study history in the early days of their studying history come to realize that, people who lived in caves, people who lived in hunter-gatherer villages, they weren't dumb. They were every bit as smart as you are, as I am. Some of them are even incredibly more inventive than any of us, and they just hadn't gotten to the point of inventing this yet, or that, or the other thing. That would come later on.
Well, the other side of that is a lot of the dumb ones got killed off.
I'm going to pet this saber-toothed kitty whether it kills me or not. It will.
Someone that's not smart enough to hunt for themselves, not smart enough to work with the society that was there. But I mean, well, the way that we learned back then was a lot different than the way that we learn now too. It's brains like mine weren't an issue back then. Brains like mine were perfectly fine. It's we played hunter-gatherer games where we would stalk each other, tag, stuff like that. That's a remnant of that old time. It's us hunting each other. It's running away from the predator. It's running to catch the prey. It's a two-sided thing that you get out of that game. You get speed, you get agility, you figure things out, you find tactics, and
you build up endurance.
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest things we've ever done as a species. And go, yep, I want that. I'm going to cook that, but I ain't running to catch up with it. I'll walk it to death.
And then agriculture made it so that we were like, all right, now we get to stay in one place and figure this stuff out and study it and work on it and tend it and give our all to this, because this is what's going to give us our sustenance. All right, we've done all the work we can do for the day. Now it's time to relax. And then that became society for a while. And then the Industrial Revolution happened. And what happens now? One person does one thing.
They do it really well. They do it 1,000,000 times, but they never get to see what the end product is because they're only doing one part.
So we never had to learn everything that we had to learn before.
And being
our leap into the great technological revolution that launches us to where we can go to space and everything else dumbed us down as a society and stripped away our ability to learn.
Well, for some people, yes. For other people, they kept trying to learn everything they could learn, not only what the past was taught, but what the future could hold.
Knowledge is gate kept now, though.
Yeah, but only among elites. Self-proclaimed elites at that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still definite roadblocks that are put in that hold people back, and it can be anything that group doesn't like. Oh, they're fat. Oh, they're socially awkward. Oh, they're insert ethnic, background.
Yeah, that's a big one we've still got to work on.
And it's
yeah, and people like me that are
leaps ahead and so many leaps behind when it comes to being a human. It's as we grow in knowledge, we are as a whole losing our ability to be humane to one another. Now, there's people like the Rising Tide who are fighting against that.
Mm-hmm.
People like NDCD who are fighting against that, holding together. You're my brother. You're my sister. We are family. We might not be blood, but what can we do to build one another up? And that's what I really love about our friends. It's we lucked out, and we have some really terrific people as friends.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Um, I could never do half of the stuff on a computer that Joe Bachman does. But then there are things I do. He goes, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. That's going to take too long to learn. Um, uh, that's why people think I'm an Excel spreadsheet wizard. And uh, I'm just going, well, I didn't have a choice. This is what the job entailed when I was getting paid for it. Um, I just learn stuff because I like learning stuff. And oh yeah, that's why socially, someone like me that is a dilettante, a dabbler, someone who tries lots and lots and lots of different things and figures out, yeah, I can do this easily. Ooh, that's going to take a little bit of time to master. And is this worth the time I'm going to put into it? Or should I just go, yeah, this is the limit my talent has decreed without further education? Um, it's a balancing act. I mean, I've been writing HTML so long, if somebody asked me to design them a website, I could do it on a napkin with an ink pen. And it'll work. Won't be pretty, but it'll work. Somebody goes, hey, here's a story I wrote. Would you tell me where I screwed up? And I'm going, spell check and don't shift from first person to third person to omniscient narrator in the same paragraph, please. Uh, and I know people that hate to read first person narratives because the writer is the character while the story is being written, not the writer is the character in real life, because that's not true. But you can put yourself in the mindset of that character and you can describe things better, more clearly, more understandably from the mindset of the character rather than the mindset of an omniscient narrator who's going, yes, well, Bob didn't know that he just screwed up mightily, but hang on, 2 or 3 paragraphs from now, you're going to know how Bob screwed up terribly. Um, narration shifts are a real problem with some people. Um, I actually like first person narratives because it makes it easier for me to immerse myself in the story. It's like, I did this, and then I did that, and then I had a cheeseburger, and then I did this other thing. I can identify with that from the first sentence, but other people like to write in third person, or other people like to read only stuff written in third person, or uh, third person narrator, or omniscient narrator, where the narrator knows everything that's going on all the way through and can break the fourth wall whenever they need to or desire to, whether they need to or not, and go, "Yeah, it gets better, folks. Hang on." Um, uh, it depends on what you're most comfortable working in. Some people can work very, very comfortably with either omniscient narrator or side character point of view, like third person, and they're just watching the protagonist and the antagonist go at it. They're
Now, one of
they're
the
they are
weirdest
a witness,
was
but they're not
uh,
omniscient.
uh, the lady who did Hunger Games.
Mm,
Um, I I I prefer to read omniscient, or at least partially omniscient.
mm,
Um, yeah, I prefer to be more, looking over the shoulder and maybe hearing a stray thought here or there, kind of a thing. Um, than uh, the traditional, first person stuff. There's a lot of first person stuff out there that is excellent. Jim Butcher and the Dresden Files, it's all first person, you know, love it. But Hunger Games, it's annoyed the hell out of me for the first few chapters because she writes, at least the Hunger Games she wrote, that trilogy, was first person present. I am walking to the train. I am doing blah blah blah. Not I did. I am. And it at first it kind of threw me, but I'm like, well, one, this genre and this trilogy, I'm not the target audience. I dig it. And apparently so did a lot of other people because they dug it enough that they made a movie of it or made um, technically a quadrilogy of movies out of it, because the last movie they split into two. But it's and then they're doing more stuff off of it with the stuff with um, the stories for how President Snow came to power and stuff like that. I think it was. I think it's one of the streaming services grabbed that. But anyways, but yeah, I was impressed with the fact that she was able to make a very compelling, very good story with that jarring kind of POV, and um major props to her. Is that Suzanne Collins? Is that her name?
I don't know.
Yep, Suzanne Collins. So yeah, I mean, she managed to take a POV that, again, it's I normally detest, and I'm like, you know what, I'll stick with it. I'll at least go 4 chapters. I try to give a story 4 chapters. I try to give a TV show 4 episodes. I try to give a podcast 4 episodes. Podcast, audiobook, stuff like that. So, I mean, try to give it a little bit, because sometimes things
they
take
have to find their footing.
Yeah, it takes a little time to build up steam, especially if you're coming in completely blind, like Wheel of Time, when it came out, I didn't need to give it 4 episodes to understand the world. I needed to give it 4 episodes to understand what the hell they did to the world. Because that was a series that I had read, no pun intended, time and time again. And yeah, I know Thesis is going to be like, intend your puns. I'm like, when I intend my puns, I claim them. But when they occur naturally, I am not going to take credit for something that I didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I find it so easy to write Tom Darby is, I mean, when you got narrative hooks like, I must got the old Harley up to 70 when I hit the flying saucer, the reader's going, what the fuck is going on? I got to read a little bit more. And you try and make it interesting from there on. The fantasy novel, it's not written first person. It's written as if I were an omniscient narrator, and I know everything that's going on and going to go on, but it's basically a very annoyed cat and a very annoying crow walking down what appears to be a very ancient road, and then they explain, well, they don't, I do, as the narrator, explain, well, yeah, there's been at least 3 collapses of their civilization before this ever happened. So they're on the 4th reconstruction. So yeah, there may be a ruin of a Walmart up on the hill, or but half the sign's gone because it's plastic, and it's been 1,000 years. And yeah, there are 3 moons in the sky, because it's not Earth. It's someplace else, and I don't even know where it is. I can't give you galactic references as to where this particular planet is. And then there's other stuff like the museum stories where different characters are going, hey, uh, you ain't going to believe this one, but once I was out there doing this and I had to do that instead. And that kind of goes between first person and I don't know if it's omnipotent or a narrator, or just it depends on how I chose to write it. I can't figure. I don't let myself get trapped in styles. I write things the way they occur to me, and sometimes there's narration, and sometimes it's all character interaction, and they blend together, hopefully, in a story that is not only comprehensible to the reader but enjoyable. Um, Enjoyable is the main target. Uh, I've toyed with all kinds of different things. I found what seems to work for me, and I stick with it. But then there are other things that go, "Ooh, this is definitely a paradigm shift. We're gonna do this way." Um, I don't know how to describe everything I do. I know how to describe some of the stuff I do, but not everything. I was not an English major. I was an art major. Um, Most of the things I write are in a very visually descriptive style, but the characters have character. They're the reason the story's happening. It's happening to them, and I'm just sitting back here going, "Okay, tell me what you're doing now." "Oh, great, you're frying sausage. That's really gonna rock the readers. I've got to figure out more about what you're doing." Um, really, there's one story I'm working on where half the time they're going, "Okay, let's set up camp. I'm ready to eat now." And then they talk about what they've cooked and what they're eating for the next 30 minutes. And I'm going, uh, you couldn't even get away with this shit in a D&D game. Uh, what am I doing? Thesis. Thesis, my so, son of my heart. Never, ever read anything by, what's his name? Donaldson? Uh, Thomas Covenant series. It's like 3 or 4 trilogies now. Never read any of that crap.
Stephen R. Donaldson.
Yes. He started off stealing from Tolkien, not in plot, but in vocabulary, and then made the most despicable first character, the most hated narrator character in my entire life of being a reader since 1959, when I first started reading. I'm going, "Oh my God, I hate this guy. But I paid for the book. I have to read it. I can't just throw it in a fish pond somewhere. It'll kill the fish." Um, oh God. And it went on for like 9 books. And I just look at my friends and go, "They love it." Yeah. What is wrong with you? I was the one doing drugs. What the fuck's wrong with you? You never did anything. Oh. I don't know. There are undoubtedly people out there that actually like Stephen R. Donaldson. I'm sitting here going, started
I would
off
hope
as a
so. Publishing between 77 and 2013 for a total of 10 books. I mean,
oh
um,
god.
dear God, that publisher would be really so it's what Valentine, Del Rey.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's hard.
dude,
It's hard to think that Del Rey would fall for that shit, but they did. Well, it probably sold well from Valentine, and then Del Rey picked it up. There are books that I have read that by the time I got about a third of the way through, I got to the point to where I'm going, this is going to be torture. I don't like this. But I paid for it. I'm obligated to finish cover to cover. Might have taken a long time. Might have read like 16 other books in between starting that one and finishing that one. But, sometimes you need a palate cleanser. Um, and then there are others that there's a writer that goes by the name Geary Gravel that started a series. I've got 2 books in it. Should have gone on for a lot longer, but it's basically one of those things where ordinary, everyday people wind up in a fantasy world. Occasionally, they get back to their home world, their home time, and then go, this is dull as ditch water. I'm going back to the fantasy world and pop back in. Fantastic writer. Reminded me of Brian Daly and a little bit of L. Neil Smith, although L. Neil Smith is uh, it's more structured as far as um, the construction of the alternate universe stuff. If you ever get a chance, I would recommend L. Neil Smith as a writer. It doesn't matter where you start. He's got a lot of standalone stuff that is loosely tied into the greater Smith verse that he's created. But caveat, he was a very prominent libertarian, and he was not in favor of having a government that actually had any power whatsoever. They were there to go, let's count the votes. This is what the people want. Politically, it was in the 70s quite revolutionary. Got you used to the idea that, maybe we should actually control our government instead of being slaves to it. Which, is not a bad idea. But the government does not allow that these days. You got to conform or you're ungroupthinked. You become a non-person gradually or rapidly, depending on how public you are. Oh, well, we've already gone on 2 hours and 10 minutes. How much longer can I keep monologuing, even though Richie is here to
For 2
talk?
hours and 10 minutes? Holy cow.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun. And fruit flies like bananas. Personally, I'm looking forward to being able to have some decent weather where I can go out with a cast iron stove and cook some stuff for Lindsay. I mean, seriously. I am missing cooking for my wife. She's always got stuff done before I can get up and go, "Oh, I'd like to cook something." Oh, yeah, you've already made that. I guess tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I don't know. We'll have to. I don't know. Do I have to make an appointment to be able to cook for you? Um, she's never going to watch the show, so I'm not afraid of saying that. Um, but no, Lindsay likes to set the schedule of everything that goes on in the house. She decides when the cats get fed. She decides when the dog gets fed. She decides when the dog needs to go outside, whether the dog needs to go outside or not. Um, she's always asking me whether or not I want this or that or the other thing for dinner, and I'm going, I'm still going off the breakfast you made this morning. I'm not hungry. If you're hungry, cook something for yourself, honey. Um, I'm editing a story, or I'm watching a YouTube video, or whatever the fuck I do to spend my retirement days. Um, but yeah, I'm. That's one thing I've noticed since I've retired. I, except for trying to get Aphelion out on time, and yes, I am extraordinarily sorry about skipping April, but if you read the editorial, you understand why the May issue was April and May. It was very distressing. I got more overwrought than I should have been. I was very short tempered. I was very impatient. And I had to make sure that none of that reflected onto Lindsay because it's not her fault. It's other people's health problems, other people that I care about deeply, and their health problems that kept the April issue from happening because I couldn't concentrate on putting all the bits together to make it happen. Everybody else did their job. I'm sitting here going, I just can't cope. I can't deal this month, guys. Sorry. and I said guys because we don't have any female editors right now. We have had in the past, but not right now. I had 2 different grandsons in the hospital for different reasons at different times in the same month, and I could not concentrate on online things, and I was worried about family things. Um, my mom's health is not the best, and she's in her 80s. Um, Lindsay tripped over the dog in a dark hallway and cracked her collarbone, if not broke it. Um, I'm going through all kinds of pain from taking a nasty tumble myself. I don't think anything's broken. I just think I'm damn near 70, and any fall my age is likely to be fatal. Well, thankfully, I'm still spry. Thankfully, Lindsay is attempting to take care of herself with reasonable responsibility. She was a nurse. Those are always the worst patients. Yeah. Another 3 weeks, maybe she'll sit still long enough for everything to heal and she can get back to normal. She still needs to be very, very careful for another month or so after that, but maybe she won't have to wear the sling. I've been married to the woman for 20 years. She's not going to be careful. She's not going to be doing what she needs to do. I know this, and I'm stuck going, I can tell you what you need to do, but you need to take it to heart and do it. It's one of those, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I can sit back and I go, yeah, if you sit in the lazy boy for another 3 weeks with a sling on, that bone will heal up quickly. It's already been 3 weeks. So should be half healed. If you don't mess it up now trying to be too active, but every time you try and be too active, you're backing yourself up by a week or 2 in your healing time. Now, how long do you want to be annoyed by this situation? And how long before you take it seriously and go, yep, time to watch Masterpiece Theater for a month and not do anything else? I'm helpless here. I'm totally helpless here. I can't make her take care of herself. I can just nag her into taking care of herself. That's the limit of my powers.
Yeah, it's Misty was complaining about having to add more medication and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, well, yeah, if you don't want to take your meds, I'll stop taking mine. You know, she's like, well, you need your meds. So do you. Doctor wouldn't be prescribing them to you. You didn't need them. Take your meds. I didn't say I wasn't going to. Good. Then we don't have to worry about me not taking my meds now, do we?
Mm-hmm.
But oh yeah, I'm like, I told you, I'm not watching you kill yourself slowly. You're either we're both seeing the doctor and getting treated for medical stuff and stuff like that, or neither of us are. That's if you refuse to do it, I ain't doing it either.
Basically, it is a case of I refuse to outlive you and have a life without you.
No, it's blackmail. It's sheer. I
Oh,
know.
I know.
Yeah,
It's psychological warfare. I understand it completely.
yeah. It's completely. I know she's going to go ahead and fold because she doesn't want to see me hurt and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right. And the thing is, I'm stubborn enough. I will.
I know exactly. Believe me, I've done that before myself. Yeah. Uh, and not only with Lindsay, with other previous long-term or short-term relationships as well. Sometimes you just got to go, you really want to throw that hand down? You haven't looked at the cards I haven't turned over yet.
You want to play? We'll play.
Yeah, this is not Texas Hold'em, honey. Oh, and yeah, there are times when uh with a lot of people around me, not Lindsay because she can see through that shit. She can see further into a millstone than most. But there are a lot of people around me. They say something or they do something and go, yeah, I know manipulation when I see it. You want to play that hand? You sure you want to play that hand? Um, it's like Fifth Element. You want to play it hard? I can play it hard. You want to play it soft? I can play it soft. Of course, I reversed that quote, but yeah, you want to make those rules? I can play by those rules. You won't like it. You really won't like it. It's it's like the old joke. Somebody, regardless of nationality, thought they ambushed a Texan, and they're trading fire back and forth, and they're not getting out on the good end of this deal. They sent a scout out to sneak around. And the scout runs back and goes, "Oh fuck! There's two of them. It's not just one guy. There's been unaliving most of us. There's another one." And he's the cook. I mean, that's like in wartime, you don't shoot at Doc. Otherwise, everybody else is going to shoot at you personally. Or as that electrician said, we've only got one war horse here hauling ammunition. We got lots of Docs. They're trying to kill the horse because they're starving communists and they want to eat her. All of a sudden, every Marine for 500 miles is shooting as these um, Chinese communists trying to take South Korea away from South Korea. They realized they had just fucked up. Uh, if anybody has not been watching um, Nick's Fed Electrician videos, I'm sorry, I don't know what his last name is. It's not Nick Tockert, but yeah, he's a former uh, Marine Corps medic, which means he is Doc. And don't ever shoot at Doc because the Marines take that personally. Well, so does Army. Navy takes when their corpsmen get shot at. Those are basically Navy medics. Air Force, they go, "Where's there a tent in my hotel room?" They point out these things. I don't know. I just repeat them. Anyway, Fat Electrician is very entertaining, very historical videos on a variety of subjects, going back actually even past the founding of the United States. But it is all history told with industrial language and no excuses for historical egos getting in the way and trying to claim that they did this, they did that, when they basically just walked up afterwards and tried and took credit for things. I mean, he does give credit to Benjamin Franklin for being the um, original Hugh Hefner. Hey, French girls, I'm American. Would you like to see what that means? Courtly behavior is a realm unto itself. It's even more structured than, well, actual ceremonies that Theseus has enlightened us to. European courtly mannerisms are there's a not only a scorecard, there's a rule book. And unfortunately, if you're not part of that society to start with, you don't get shown the rule book. You got to figure it out on your own or just improvise. I'm sure this had a point when I started this digression, but it no longer does because I've forgotten where I was going and what I was doing. Okay.
That's like 99% of our conversations. I mean, admit it, our conversations are ADD as fuck.
Yeah. And it's pretty easy to believe. And I know I'm undiagnosed but the signs are pretty clear.
I knew for a while. Oh, okay. I suspected for very hard suspected for a while. It was finally confirmed when I was like 50, 51. Yeah, and it's an I will learn how to speak here eventually. It's not like I do it for a living.
mm,
Oh wait, I do. Um, yeah, it's an interesting ride trying to get that beast tamed.
well, I I realized it a long time ago. I accepted it shortly after, but as I said, I don't really need a diagnosis. I know I know what I'm going through. I know what I'm doing. I have absolutely no control over it. Squirrel, but no. And there are a lot of other things thrown in there. I mean, I can hyper focus on something for months and then go, well, that was fun. What next?
I
Uh,
I thought I was working on chainmail for like 15 minutes. Misty tells me she's going to bed at like 9 o'clock. Yeah, again, I said I thought I was working on it for like 15 minutes. She comes in and, well, if you're not gonna, and I'm like, what? It's only been a couple of minutes. And then I look outside and I'm like, wait, that's the dawn. Whoops. It was 6 a.m.
yes, there have been times when I've been working on stuff back here and not been online talking to anybody, just working on typing or editing or throwing HTML code at stuff. And Lindsay's come in and go, you know, um, it's 4 a.m. Don't you think you could sleep sometime? And I'm going, I haven't even nodded off in my chair for the last 28 hours. Uh, yeah. Oh, wow.
That's the
Throw
top of
that,
the protofez.
throw that closer to the camera. I want to see the detail.
That's the
Yes.
top of the protofez. And so that's going to be the height. And then I have the band for all the way around so that I'm going
Okay.
to lose the
Okay.
ability to hear for a second. So
That
yeah,
that is going to be so cool when you get it done.
it's trying to figure out the proper expansion to get it from this to the opening to fit my fat noggin.
Well, this is the 2.5 inch brass loop on the end of the belt that was shipped to me. This is where I folded over the tongue of the belt to either put the rivets in or put the snaps in. When I get the other rivet it's only 2 inches, not 2.5, but it'd still be brass. But I figured I'd put that one in the back. Yeah, there's that tie.
So here's version 1 of the tie. which I found out I need to make this a little bit longer. I like the length of the silver. And of course, the 18 gauge 1/4 drapes a lot longer than the 16 gauge 1/4. So I've got to add probably another 2 inches or so into this so that they're common length. But when I wore this to work on Wednesday, got a lot of comments. A lot of people are like, "Oh, where did you get that?" I made it. No, really, where'd you get that? I made
it.
So one of the receptionists wants a bracelet in the same weave as the tie, not quite as wide. That's what I was working on last night in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
So that's done.
Oh, you finished it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, let me see the clasps on the end.
So the clasp on this is just a simple toggle.
Yeah, it's a bar and a loop.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she also wanted one of my crosses because I showed her the crosses, and she wanted it in the black and silver, which I knew I had one of these around, but I didn't know exactly where it was. So I made one brand new last night, and then I found the other one.
And then you found the one that you didn't know where it was. Yeah.
Oh, well, I still have stock for when I go to actually sell these somewhere. So, yeah, so I finished what she wanted. I just have to count links to figure out the price.
That is exactly like me in ordering a metal detector that I never ever needed just to be able to find my lost keys to my truck in case they're in the driveway, which is there's no guarantee that they are buried under tree leaves in the driveway. Most likely they became a cat toy and they're somewhere in and amongst the firearms in my closet. And the firearms are all in cases, so I can pull that out of the way easily enough and keep searching. But if it became a cat toy, I don't know what universe it's in.
Yeah,
and
so
some of those I don't want to visit. Yeah. I have tie clasps like that.
And then I've got one that's slightly larger.
Mm.
Actually, I've got a bunch of each of these.
Well, you need
to. And then I have plain. So it's completely smooth.
Yeah.
Where the others have kind of a twisted look. And then I've got the one that's kind of plain and tiny. And then I've got a bunch of different flavors of magnetic ones. And then I've got some magnetic ones that are really pretty that when they come together, they look like a little rose.
Mm.
So
now,
they weren't expensive at all.
Well, no, but the trick is you're putting lots of inexpensive parts together to make something that is much more valuable than the sum of its parts.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is, I mean, to get, a good quantity of these to make stuff and, have stuff, handy. So, I mean, I can make a ton of bracelets that are similar to this and then just have them sitting by and be like, all right, what kind of clasp do you want on it? And they go, okay, with that clasp, I've got to add, 3 more rows here, do this, do that, because, you're not going to need this, inch of smaller chain because this larger thing, piece of chain isn't going to fit through the loop and allow the bar to go through the loop,
Yeah.
But I mean, and actually the ties, this is the exact toggle I use on both those ties. The same that I'm using on this bracelet. Because I'm like, it's just going to be real easy because then I can just go, and I'm out of it,
Well, I did what you're trying to get out of it with the other day. That could have been last week. It could have been last month. I don't remember. But you were kind of struggling with it
I'm
because
still getting used to it. Yeah, because it's here. And, it's also to get in the shoulder back because it's time for the injection in the shoulder again. In fact, that's actually Wednesday.
Mhm. Well, I mean, the main problem was it was hidden underneath your shirt collar,
Yeah.
and you were having trouble bending your right shoulder enough to get to it
Yeah.
because
And
it's
then,
almost time for another injection.
the other thing that I didn't take into account is because of the rubber rings that I do have placed throughout the neck chain, it holds it in place very well. So I don't have to worry about slippage. So I went to try to, twist it a little bit so I had a little bit better. No, it didn't want to budge because the
Yeah,
rubber's grabbing onto the shirt like, no, we're not going anywhere. I'm like, son of a... I'm like, it works nicely.
yeah, but rubber and cloth do not like to glide across each other.
Yeah.
It's ribbed for your pleasure or your inconvenience. Um,
Yeah, this was like half a season of Highlander, the series. Oh, and apparently there's a link down here that I need to join properly. I didn't realize that.
oh, well, that's what re-examining something you thought you had finished is always a good idea. I can't tell you how many times I've edited one manuscript and still kept missing the forest for the trees because I knew what I meant to say, but when I read it, I kept missing certain typos because I knew what it was supposed to say, and my eye just kept going rather than spotting the error. This is why every writer needs an editor. You're too close to your own story. There are flaws that I won't say are obvious to an outside entity, but there are flaws your mind causes you to skip over because it's yours and you know what you meant to say, whether or not that's what you typed.
You know it backwards and forwards, so yeah, your brain is filling in all of the blanks where someone else has to go,
Wait a
oh, is this...
minute, there's half a paragraph missing here. Um, I really don't understand how you shortcutted that one and go, oh, yeah. That's because I was writing it. I knew exactly what needed to go in there, and I got distracted by something else, so I didn't add it in. Oh, speaking of being distracted, I I have been saying on various chats, there is a crow apparently building a nest either under or on top of my air conditioner here in this room. And Lindsay went out and looked. She goes, "There's no nest." And I'm going, "What? The crow is just randomly landing on the air conditioner and cussing me out for 30 minutes? Um, which responsibility have I neglected? Um, I, I just don't know. Um, besides, it's only one. It's not like I could call the name of both of Odin's crows, and
I was about ready to say it's just Munin checking in.
well, I don't know if it's
Or
human or moonin.
could be Hugin, yeah.
It, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Or maybe it's both of them taking turns. I don't know.
That was the
they're
next
just
thing
out
that was
there
probably across
talking
my
to
mind.
me. One at a time, they're out there talking to me. I'm going, oh, I gotta have a long talk with my boys. Something going on. I need to know more. I do know that I have one grandson that is supposed to get married either this weekend or next weekend. Lindsay is upset because we didn't get an invitation to the wedding. The stepson, who's the father to that grandson, has been born again, found a wonderful wife, not the mother of the particular grandson who is potentially getting married, but definitely after many years of in vitro procedures, been able to give birth to a granddaughter. Well, for them, daughter. For me, granddaughter. For Lindsay, granddaughter. Um, whom we've seen in the flesh, I think, once. But, you know, I can understand. Uh, the boy had a drinking problem before he found Jesus. And hanging around me might be a temptation to slide back. So if that means I have to step back and let him live his own life in order to keep him from falling from the straight and narrow, I don't have to like it, but I do have to accept it. That's his choice, his life. As long as he doesn't screw it up, it's none of my damn business. And even when he does screw it up, I only have the right to say, kid, look into getting some help. I'm not the best example for you to look up to. Which is about one.
A hell of a lot better than a lot of examples there, Dan. So, I mean, you're a
Well,
hell of a
I
lot better than
mean,
a lot of examples.
I've got a great work ethic, but I've got a great hey, I'm through with work. It's time to have fun ethic too, which is not exactly beneficial to
But you also
a
have great
teenager
heart.
mind. Well, yeah, um, it's easy for me to love a a child, a grandchild, not even. And this is where I differ with a mother, which is why we argue so much. Doesn't have to be part of my bloodline, just has to be someone I have helped become who they are. Whether it was because I married their mother, or whether it was because I fear I feel a spiritual connection to them after getting to know them. It's like difference between a godfather and a grandfather. Um, you know,
There's a lot of people who don't understand that um, my older two, I don't use the word step.
exactly.
Um,
I hate that word.
in my family, that is a checkbox on a legal form.
The way I look at it, I was part of their lives. I was ceremonially their father, and that's good enough. Now,
We've
if
raised
you
them, we've loved them, we've been there for the headache, we've been there for the heartache, we've, you
thick
know,
and thin, good or bad, yeah. When they fall, help them get back up again. Try and put them on a reasonably correct path, but their choices are their choices. You
in the end,
can't.
they have to be the man or woman that they have to be. Yeah.
Hmm. Now, I
Misty
have had.
is having a problem with that with Crow. There's times that Misty has a really hard time letting go of Crow's birth name.
I'm not surprised, and I would probably be doing the same thing. I'm really having an extreme problem referring to Kiri as they, although I have adjusted to other of my friends. It's just I haven't had enough time for that particular linkage to become ingrained.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a hard time with trying to refer to my middle child significant other as she. Um, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, they're fine with me calling them they, and I can handle that step for now. It's just my brain can't get past the fact that they fathered two children. So my brain doesn't want to go. And I mean, the hell does it matter? It's not my life. It's theirs. It's, I don't know. I don't know why I can't get past it on that one, but I can look past it on so many others. And I'm able to look past it on Crow.
And it doesn't have anything to do how close the family connection is. I mean, seriously, I when Kiri came on, I don't remember, but it's 2:50 Last Man Standing on Thursday. I'm going, damn, you've done a great job with your eye makeup. That's on point. And I made it a point to tell them that. And it's not something I'm trying to point out as a something I'm
You're not
particularly
trying to mock them.
proud
You're
of
trying to say, hey,
noticing.
you've done a good job. Yeah.
It's not something I'm trying to point out that I'm the superhero because I noticed and made them. No, it's like, wow, you did great there. Let me give you a compliment. And they accepted it on that it's a compliment basis. Kiri does not often go to that effort to
Do themselves up. For us,
yeah,
at least.
and half the time they use a animated
Yeah.
avatar instead of appearing on camera in person. I'm going, that's
And that
that's
is
fun,
another great
but
thing that they actually have the confidence to actually, be on camera too. I mean,
I felt
that shows a lot of
extraordinarily
growth.
I felt extraordinarily trusted by that. I mean, um, our shows have a very wide audience, very few of whom are whom not well, not whim, but whom are narrow-minded, and the narrow-minded ones don't stick around too long because we got a way of pissing them off in a hurry. But no, I
They got
want
ways of making them leave.
Kiri and other folks that are in the same sort of shoes that Kiri is in to really mangle a quote to feel comfortable. I mean, seriously, um, if I were narrow-minded enough to delineate my friends because of their orientations, I'd have a whole lot fewer friends. And I'd be worse for it. I'd be tremendously worse for it.
Yeah,
And
we're blessed with having some really great people.
oh, indeed, we everybody in the Indie CD and Rising Tide groups are open-minded. We're not so open-minded our brains fall out. Um, but what you want to be, what you want to do, we're going to encourage you. We're going to we're going to be there rooting for you as you go through whatever struggles you're going through. And we're going to help you in whatever way we can help you. Doesn't matter. It's not important. What is important is the online family that we have grown. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I actually said that out loud. Yeah, the online family we have grown. This is the important thing. It's been 3 hours, Richie.
Yeah.
I think I need to play the end credits and get off here and go to bed. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you, Thesis. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Daniel, and everybody else that popped in and then popped out in the
Sorry, Carl, that it
section.
lasted 3 hours.
It'll be all right. It's a 2-cigar show. Okay.
Watch it on 1.5 speed.
I'll probably sound like one of the chipmunks. Don't know which one because I don't know which way my voice is pitched. But yeah, it'll be all right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Richie. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
And go get some sleep. What are you still doing here? Good night.
Take a look.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.